Fans, we are live once again on the Cheap Heat Productions Wrestling Podcast, the much anticipated festive edition, as you can see by Mr. Maurice and Santa Mancini, of the Mario Mancini Show, which we're entitling Year End Miracle on 69th Street. My name is Jack Kilby, Executive Vice President of Great North Wrestling. And to kick everything off, we're going to shoot it right now to the man who is Mr. Cheap Heat and who is carrying the festive season on his massive, massive back, Mr. Mario Shortall. Mario, how are you, sir?
Mario Short.
I'm great, guys. But look, it's the end of another year, and I have to thank you two gentlemen, the real stars of the show, Mr. Views Mancini and Mr. Research Jack Kilby. So just want to get that out of the way firstly.
No, I don't get any views. Nobody watches me, so-called. I don't get any views. Listen, I enjoy.
It's only Mario. It's only those two porn stars that are still above you on the podcast.
I enjoy doing the show. I don't do any other shows. Maurice will tell you that I get offers to do other podcasts and I shoot it to him. And he lets me know the legitimacy of everything. The only other podcast I've done other than this was Hannibal. So and I love doing Hannibal. So I really appreciate this podcast. I would like to go into 2024 only because of chemistry. I know a question came up prior to us going on the air about what happened to maintaining the truth with Paul Roma. And I just want people to know that we do have something in mind for 2024. A podcast on YouTube with Roma and myself. The name of it, I actually can't. Somebody actually, it's kind of like what you guys do. So the law firm I work in, Nick is the head attorney there, and I've been there for 28 years. And within that 28 years, Nick obviously has met Roma. Roma's been to a couple theme parties that Nick has thrown, and when lay people approach Roma, they have specific questions for him. So every time Nick sees Roma, he's like, "Hey Roma, what do you think about preparing your chicken this way?" And "Hey Roma, what if I turn my wrist this way when I'm doing biceps?" And "Hey Roma, what?" It's always those kind of questions. So that was in my head, and I kept going. I went, "Well, what if we named it Hey Roma?" The podcast, Hey Roma. So,
I've got a name for you, Mario, that you could use.
What's
the
that?
Mario Mancini Show featuring Paul Roma.
So, it's no secret how close Roma and I are. 2024 is coming. I put my hand in his hand and met him for the first time in December of '84. So, along with operating Paradise Alley together, we'd like to go into this venture if we could. Hopefully we can do it soon. So, and it's the only thing is it leaves me open. It leaves me open to still do this podcast because, Roma and I are huge supporters of our veterans, huge supporter of the current military. A lot of times he likes talking about our veterans, having veterans on. Show's not necessarily about professional wrestling. So it'll be about anything. So that might keep you might keep you safe there, Maurice. So I want to state that I've never watched much of CM Punk. I've never seen him wrestle. That might make me a little outdated and a little out of touch. I realize that. I'm a little slighted because Tony Atlas and I are so close, and I think he had a run in with Tony Atlas at one time in the
Yes, he
dressing
did.
room. And I love Tony and I respect Tony as one of my mentors who was kind enough to take me under his wing when I went into the WWF and befriend me and be nice to me, and treated me on his level instead of a jobber. He was one of those guys. So I'm not usually the association guy. Well, if Jack hates him, I hate him. You know what I mean? I'm usually not that guy. I'm more like that. But you know, knowing Tony is very unoffensive. You know what I mean? He'll do anything to help anybody. So that kind of, but I guess it's a big deal.
Mhm.
Okay, so
His,
it's a big deal. Nobody wants to elaborate on that or anything. Is the
his,
booze
his
already
issue,
getting to you?
his issue with Tony Atlas, is that what you mean, Mario?
Or the podcast.
No, what I'm saying is CM Punk's return seems to be a very big deal.
Oh,
Oh,
yes, yes. It's the talk of the dirt sheet and IWC world for sure.
it's the
100%.
highest, the highest viewed clip ever on social media that the WWE have put out there.
See, that's
Mhm.
what I'm looking for right there. I'm looking for that Maurice magic, that Maurice Christmas magic that he has all that knowledge. You know what I mean? So I wish him well. Uh, I don't know how hard it is for him to come back after 10 years. It's gonna hurt. It hurts. Maybe he was gone from the WWE for 10 years. Was he active within those 10 years?
Well,
Yeah,
he
it's
had a
gonna hurt.
UFC run. He had a
Yeah,
UFC run as well. So
nah, it's gonna hurt. He's gonna have to get used to that stuff all over again. So it's like, I was at the wrestling school Monday and Tuesday. I teach Monday and Tuesday, and I had mentioned Jack. I was talking to one of the students, and they're like, "You swear you're never gonna wrestle again?" I go, "Well, I kind of made a commitment in Canada that I'm gonna put the trunks on and go in there." And I go, it's a gentleman that is well respected in the wrestling business, a one of those better than top notch promoters. I said, "And I don't really, I don't want to let him down." I go, "It's bad enough I got to walk to the ring in one of his shows. I let the guy down." Um, Nikki Duke is more than excited. I told her, I wanted to bring her along, and she is so pumped up. Nikki Duke is such a good kid, and she's such a good talent. Um, and she's great to have in the dressing room, and she's just one of those humble, very sweet, willing to help. She's there for your company. She's not there for herself. She's there for professional wrestling as a whole. And that's kind of old school because were there for the business and for the company. What was the best for the company? Um, you know, not, Geez, can you open up the door real quick? Yeah, the back door. Um, no, the back door. Try to catch him for me. So, it's like, she's a really good person to have there. I'm going to try to convince Roma to come. That's
Mm.
going to have to be a conversation with Jack and Roma, but I'd hate to go there without him. So
Mhm.
hopefully something could be worked out there because Jack, I'll tell you on the air, um, I'll tell you to your face and on the air that I really don't care. So as far as whatever draw you're going to have that night, um, you know, whatever travel is enough. You know what I mean? But whatever draw you're going to have that night, whatever happens that night, it's all good with me. I have no set price. I don't have that.
oh
Ask
shit, your
Scott.
promoter is watching. Your promoter is
Ask
just in the
ask
house.
ask Scott Wilder. Ask Scott Wilder. I just said ask
Can't
Scott
say those
Wilder.
things.
He popped on. Is he out there?
I didn't see anything.
All right. So
Who's that coming for you that you're looking for? Is it the ghost of
no, it's my
Christmas present or?
it's my TV guy.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
I'll keep it.
Just after the last show, and then you said back door, I was just like, oh,
No,
here we
no,
go.
no, yeah, no. It was my TV guy. I'll keep it safe and say it's my TV guy. So just when I said ask Scott Wilder, he popped right on. So there's a lot of shows I do for Scott Wilder where we kind of laugh, put our arms around each other, kind of walk and laugh and go, well, I had fun. Because either it's there or it's not. You know what I mean? Either it's there or it's not. So yeah, I like the oh dude, all right, Mario. I did the deal with Jack. 1 for you, 1, 2, 3 for me. 2 for you, 3, 4, 5, 6 for me. That
The legends are rolling in tonight.
there.
Legend.
Listen. There's
Speaking of
not a.
legend, here you go.
Oh, see, back to back too. Two gentlemen that you couldn't find better human beings on the face of this earth. One being the guardian of KS Big Daddy, and the other one being Brian Costello. So, that'd be funny to get Costello. He won't go to Canada. There's no way Costello will go to Canada. There's no
Why not? There won't be
way.
snow.
I don't know. It's in May. I don't know, man.
There won't
I
be
don't
snow for sure.
listen. Costello. You got to listen. You got to be in. You got to be in with Costello. If you're not in, you're out. You know what? Costello's kind of like Andre the Giant. He just keeps a very small circle, very, very small. And if you're not in that circle, you're not in that circle. So
We'll keep working on it then.
yeah, he's a extremely private individual. So, but a fantastic
Scott,
guy.
Scott wants to
Scott
go.
wants
See,
to go.
he'll
Scott, you
take
want to
care
go?
of
You
it.
want to go to Canada?
He'll get the trans and everything going.
Someone sees the dollar signs.
Scott, we have to see how we're gonna go. We got to see how we're gonna go. My deal isn't exactly hopping in the car and going. So we got to see how we're gonna
It's just over the border, Mario. No problem whatsoever. It's an easy drive. You can do it sitting on your
First
head.
class.
Well, how
Yeah,
many hours is it?
From New Jersey?
No, not from New Jersey, from Connecticut.
Okay, from Connecticut. Okay, somebody was from New Jersey recently.
All right, so it's 2.5 from New Jersey. Add 2.5 onto it.
Yeah, it's a give or take 5, but it's a pleasant drive.
5 hours?
Well, give or take 4 hours, give or take 4 or 5, depending on traffic. Actually, you know what? Let me punch it in. Hold on one sec. Just a second.
So who are you hoping to face in Canada, Mario?
Oh, I don't care. I'll job out to anybody Jack puts me to. I don't care.
No. We got bigger plans than that.
Well, listen, that's what I do, though. Listen, here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, or else it's not pure. You can't take a professional wrestler that made a career out of counting. Wow, this particular arena has how many lights are those? I think they got about 16 lights up there above the ring. You can't take a guy who made a living with his back on the canvas, looking at all the lights on the ceiling, and you can't turn him into whatever. You know what I mean? I have to stay true to who I am. Well, so when I job out, they go, well, that's what else is new.
What I hear in wrestling, Mario, what I hear in wrestling on primetime wrestling every week now is about finishing your story. What better way to finish your story than winning at the very end in your last match?
Oh wow!
See, look at what Costello's saying.
Let's see that I'm undefeated at Clash. That's right. I have to respect the IAW and keep my streak going. I guess. So Mario, stop! You're killing the payday. You know who I'd like to bring to Canada with me? is the Guardian of Chaos, Big Daddy. Let me tell you something. To put those boa feathers around his neck again, and those glasses on his face, and him getting that crowd going once more, man, that would be something. But I have a feeling that here's another tremendous human being, man, talented guy, Rick Del Santo, the professor, he's called. Big wrestling guy. He's got a brain for the business. Really good guy. Great family guy too. Um, I got a feeling Big Daddy won't step foot off of American soil though. But that shouldn't include Canada. Like, all right, so there was this guy on TikTok, right? And he lives in a $2.4 million house. He started in 2016 at 150 pounds. He's now 400 pounds. He got to be 400 pounds because he ate his way there on TikTok videos. And he's probably the top 5 creators on TikTok. So I'm driving in the car and I'm like, man. And it just hit me. It just hit me out of nowhere. So I hit the record button and I sang a song and I put hashtag the singing wrestler. And I've made I don't know, a couple dozen videos by now. Jack, do you know I got an inbox? Legit, Maurice checked it out. I got an inbox from Don't Forget the Lyrics on Fox TV and said, we
I
want you
heard
on.
that, and we were going to ask about that. So fill us in here. This is
Yeah.
big news, and it's exclusive news to this
Yeah.
podcast.
Yeah. So this woman got a hold of me and said, we want you to on the show. She goes, you're going to have to go through auditions. And I was very honest. I said, listen, she goes, I think you would be tremendous on the show. You got to make it through auditions. I said, I won't make it. I won't make it. And she said, why do you say that? I go, because if you pay attention to the singing wrestler knows all the lyrics from some 60s, 70s, and all the 80s, couple 90s. You go, like, my daughter and I watched like 4 episodes last night. I'm dead. I'm dead at like 50 or 75,000 because they have love songs. I got it nailed. 80s, I got it nailed. Okay. Movie themes, I got it nailed. But then when they have 2010 and they had Taylor Swift on there, Taylor Swift songs, it's like, bye. See you later.
Is it
I'm out.
Mario?
Bye.
Mario, what way did they select the songs? Is it random or what way does it work?
Yeah, it is. So what happens is you go on there and there's 10 categories. So say you pick love songs. So you get 2 songs to pick from. So one might be say it's if ever you're in my arms again, and then they have you know I can't help falling in love by Elvis Presley. You got to pick one of them. In fact, they had a whole Elvis category that I was dying for somebody to pick because my brother is Elvis Presley, or he thinks he is. My brother that's 12 years older than me, who paid for my wrestling school. He's the biggest Elvis fan you'll ever see in your life, and I grew up with Elvis, and just constantly Elvis Presley, constantly. So, I know a ton of Elvis music, and I'm like, pick Elvis, pick Elvis. But I was frustrated because 2 categories came up last night. One song was "I Will Do Anything for Love" by Meatloaf, and I'm like, forget it. You know what I mean? I'm gonna nail that like crazy. So, but then they have other categories like 2010 Taylor Swift or Lady Gaga or Avril Lavigne. I'm like, no way. So
Okay, but here's the thing you're forgetting. You're going to be a draw. You're going to bring eyeballs to the product. You got this great singing wrestler gimmick. Don't you think they're going to work it? You're
well,
acting like it's a shoot.
yeah.
Your
You know,
backstory would be incredible for them to have on the show.
the thing,
XWWF.
Exactly.
that's what she said. She said, I watched a few of your matches, so I watched a few of your matches. Which you're right, it makes, and I did mention to my daughter last night because there was a slam dunk song, and they're like, I just don't know if those, she'll say, I need 5 lyrics on this song. So you sing the song and you're singing along, and all of a sudden it goes blank, 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 and you got to fill in those lyrics. And they're going, I just don't know if they're I'm like, that's a work. That's a work right there. They're milking it.
Oh, the Undertaker's taking him again. Oh, your sound is gone.
You lost your volume, sir.
The singing wrestler has lost his voice.
Oh no.
The singing wrestler has lost his voice.
Mario, maybe go in and out, bro. You're mute now. Still mute.
Technology.
We haven't even gotten to the main part here. Okay, maybe he's going to reset. He was on mute. Now he's not. Hello? No.
Just go out of the whole thing. Yeah, that's
Isn't that weird how that happens to Mario when he gets a call or a text or something like that?
It seems like, I don't use my phone, but it seems like when you get a proper phone call that it'll just knock it off altogether.
Mm-hmm.
He should be back in a second.
Here he is here.
There you go.
There we go.
So I
you're
don't know.
Talking, it might be at work.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's a work. Are they going to say we're going to work you up until 150? I don't know. I don't know if they do that. I have no idea.
It's probably more major TV companies trying to get in touch with him.
I agree. We should maybe mention that we're in the Christmas spirit, imbibing a little bit of the adult beverages. For you, Maurice, you do your intro. Yeah. It looks kind like Jameson, sir.
Jameson, yeah. It's more of a chill back show tonight, anyway.
Roger. And I have the Sandbanks Baco Noir Reserve from the wonderful Picton area.
Won't show the picture.
Baileys.
Bit of Baileys.
Didn't
want to show the logo.
Well, they won't see this, I doubt anyway. So from the wonderful Picton brewing area, they do wine and they do beer and they do several spirits. So it's quite a burgeoning area and local industry here in Eastern Ontario. But Mario, I guess, is still coming back. Did you want to kind of run? We've only actually got into the TV show deal. We haven't got into some of the other topics. Did you want to start maybe perhaps the Cheap Heat Productions year in review?
Yeah, these are really short, but these are pretty much from month to month, what happened. So in January, 60,000 views. Oh, he's back. Okay,
we got you, bro.
It's the job. So I don't know. The thing is, which got Maurice excited, which I felt bad about, was there was a catch. And I said, okay, when's the show taping? And she goes, January 19th to the 27th, but we're taping in Ireland. I said, 50 states, you got to be taping in Ireland.
Yeah, in Dublin.
Yeah. So I said, I said, conversation, and she said, okay, you're number one on the list, number one person I'm going to call when we tape in Los Angeles or New York. So I'm gonna wait until they tape in Los Angeles or New York, and then hopefully I can get through auditions. Now you guys disappeared.
I think you've had some dodgy connection there.
We're still here.
You guys there?
Yes, sir. Can you still see us, hear us?
Hello?
Hello, we're still here. Maybe we'll try you to come. There we go. Back in and back out again. He's having some issues, and we can't let him go without getting an update on the Facebook dating process.
It's the phone. It's the phone. That's the problem.
It's the phone. Oh, here we
so
go.
January. I'll put in the January. 60,000 views in January. Oh, here he's come back again.
Are you back, sir? Can we hear you?
That was really weird. That was really weird. So anyway, we had a conversation, and we're if they tape in New York, they tape in New York or in Los Angeles. So I'm gonna wait for them. As much as I would have loved to go to Ireland, especially to see Maurice, I'm gonna wait until they tape in New York. And she said I'm on the top of her hit list. So I'm just gonna keep doing the singing wrestler on TikTok. And nobody, no, it's amazing. Nobody has come on and said you suck yet. Stop doing this. No, you know what I mean? So it's amazing nobody has, because it's sometimes I listen to myself and I go, I missed that note.
Were they,
So,
Mario? Were they going to pay for your flights and your
I
accommodation,
assume,
etc.?
yeah, I assume the hotel, probably, it's all day taping. It's probably catered, or they give you a per diem or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it's a very popular show. Um, I would love to do it. I just don't know how far I can go. There's no way I'm going to get to I'm assuming when you get to the $1 million song, you probably have to fill in 10 lyrics. Um, so the strategy for me is, if there's 6 out of 10 categories there that I know I can nail. Maurice, it's not in Ireland.
What do you mean it's not in Ireland?
You can't watch it.
No, I've never seen the show. It may be on over here, but I don't watch a lot of
Oh
TV.
yeah. So if I hit 6 out of 10 categories, I'd be happy. I just, it would have to be, it would have to be a really, really big gift. I mean, all 10 categories would have to be something that I know. Uh, so, anyway, uh, I'm trying to put together a pretty big show, on April 13th, at the JCC in Woodbridge. I have Danny Moff coming to that show, Holiday, um, Nikki Duke, um, Bull James, a
Oh,
guy
wow.
named Brian Malonis. Um, I'm trying. I wanted to get Hammerstone, but Hammerstone is booked. Uh, so it's funny, because I went to Google. So it was weird. Uh, I went to Google something the other day, and Holiday was the lead story on Google. Says Holiday reaches an agreement with MLW, and he was in the wrestling school Monday night. And I told him the story. He was the lead story. He goes, "Oh, that's pretty cool." I go, "You're reaching an agreement with MLW?" He goes, "No." I go, "No." He goes, "No." So I guess it's a one. Oh, it's appearance, a per appearance agreement. It's not a contract. It's just a per appearance agreement with MLW. So, um, Holiday's doing well, thank God, and things are moving along for him. So, any news on Vince McMahon? Haven't heard, seen, or anything of him lately.
Not much. He seems to be taking a back seat. Sold off some more shares, didn't he, Jack?
Yeah, and there was some indication that the consortium looked at some of his ongoing issues, both civilly and criminally, and thought that a statement, I believe, was made, something to the effect that his position may be not to the advantage of the consortium shareholders, and that kind of dropped like a bomb. And then there's that was about probably 5-6 weeks ago, and there's been not much news at all on his position within the company.
He went on holiday with the Undertaker over to Saudi Arabia to see some boxing matches recently. He has a walking stick.
I did see that. Well, he had a walking stick. People are saying, "Oh, look how old." Somebody popped in and said, "Hey, everybody, calm down. He just had back surgery or something." So, um, you know what I would have said last year, But I really think since he got the UFC involved and so many other people have so much more at stake that he might have really stepped down.
Yeah.
So
Or at least pulled back. So,
Then
Guardian of Chaos is asking any thoughts on the Von Erich's Iron Claw movie and the Sons of Kevin coming to AEW.
they'll
well,
mess them all.
I haven't seen the movie yet. Lord knows I've seen enough documentaries on that poor family. Um, and I'm assuming it's just going to be another movie about that poor family. You know, very unfortunate. I haven't seen it yet. MJF is in it. I'm just assuming that it's going to be a really good movie. Um, and the only thing I could say about the Von Erichs coming to AEW is I hope they prosper. I hope they prosper, and I hope they're happy. I hope they're happy in their heart and in their minds, and I hope they're positive, and I hope they don't have the same disease. You know, I hope they're happy human beings, and I hope they do very well. You know, I hope they do very well.
Yeah. If you read the news today, a lot of people are saying that AEW, sorry, are in danger of losing all their TV deals and their 34 million in the red this year alone. That's not good.
Wow. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
it sounds like a somewhat of a dire financial situation for a normal company, but this is not a normal company. This seems to be one with unlimited resources. As for that movie, yeah, definitely looking forward to it. MJF, it came out this week, is only in for a number of seconds, basically. He had a couple of scenes that were cut when he was playing in his role of Lance Von Erich, of course, Ricky Vaughn. And I don't know. I'm a little skeptical. I was a fan of World Class big time back in the day, up until this period of time. But the actors that they have cast, Jeremy what's his name, White, as Kerry Von Erich. I'd like to see how they pull that off, because that guy physically is not Kerry Von Erich. So maybe it's just someone who's being too critical from a hardcore fan perspective, and it may get over with a mainstream audience. But yeah, it'll be hard to see, or interesting to see, how they squeeze new life out of that topic, because there's been so many excellent documentaries on it, most notably not the WWE release, but the independent film Heroes of World Class, which was shot before they tore down the Sportatorium.
Yeah.
Mario, do we have any update on the dating since last time?
Oh, my personal life?
Well, you started it last time.
I tell you what, man. I tell you what. I had met a really nice woman that I was really, really optimistic about. We had a great conversation. Um, and we have to talk about Scott Wilder about that. We had a really great conversation on the phone. I was very enthusiastic about it, and it just goes to show you that these dating sites are like, in today's day and age, in 2023, it's so I'm at the wrestling school doing the thing and everything, and I look down at my phone after a couple hours, and I see that she sent me a message, and it said, I'm sorry, I don't want to waste your time. I promised myself I swore off Italian men, and my friends did too. I don't want to waste your time. I'm like, you're you're kidding, right? And she's like, no, I just don't want to go with another Italian man. And I have 3 cats, So, and you know what? Stereotypical Italian men. The thing with me is I was raised by parents that were married for 65 years, and they came from that generation. And I was like that. I'm also a guy that I'm not ashamed to say that I've been through a lot of psychotherapy on relationships, not on relationships, and I've read a lot of books. For those of you who have failed relationships, marriages, or anything, a guy that changed my life, his name is David Rico. And I read about 5 books that he's published, and he's an expert on relationships and the theories, and he'll delve into why people are the way they are, if they came from a divorced family, a single parent, if they experience trauma as a child, if they have abandonment issues, if he goes through how they're going to be as an adult, and he's just really really good at this stuff, and I read a lot of his stuff. So I went from the stereotypical Italian man to not a stereotypical Italian man. It's a stereotypical Italian guy is controlling. Um, he's a little, what we say in Italian, gabadost. He's a little hard headed. He likes things his way. The wife is typically the little lady, not an equal. You know what I mean? He's the provider, and he's to be respected as the provider. It's just the Italian way. And my mother always used to say, the understand that the culture where been married 3 times, and it's right there on my Wikipedia. I was married for 15 months the first time I got married to my high school sweetheart. She was French Canadian, and I was married for 9.5 years to my second wife. She was Spanish, and I was married for 11 years to my third wife. She was German, English, German. So my mother was always on me to marry an Italian woman because they understood. Well, in today's day and age, that people are modern. They don't go by ethnicity anymore, or the traditional things of ethnicity. You know what I mean? They're just individuals. And when at 57 years old, when you're dealing with a 51, 52, or 55-year-old woman, she's already been through the mill, and she's already had her experiences, good and bad. And it's at this age, it's trying to maneuver around the damage. Everybody's damaged goods, right? And you're trying to maneuver around the damage to see if you two people could connect to handle each other's damage. So although I will say I'm the best of friends with my ex-wife and her husband. When I did that shot for Scott Wilder up at the Mohegan Sun, it was a card show, and Scott is a avid card collector, and he was there, and he came up to the table, and we were BSing and everything. I like Scott a lot. He's a good guy, who's married to my ex-wife. So I mean, it's functional. It's just people grow apart, and they have different philosophies on what a relationship should be, and the values inside of that relationship. And that's what you're trying to find out there. You're trying to find somebody with the same values as you, and so it's pretty difficult. The stereotypical Italian guy I described is one from 1950, and 1960, 1970, just put the food on the table, Gina. Stop giving, busting them off on me. So it's not like that anymore. Italian men aren't like that anymore. Italian women aren't like that anymore. So a lot of people, then again, Maurice, the first question out of her mouth was, all right, I just have to ask you these questions. I said, the minute we got on the phone, I go, okay, go ahead.
Time to hang up.
He goes, do you have a job and do you have a car? And I went, yeah. So I actually put on, I just revised my profile yesterday, and I said, I don't understand why I'm not getting a lot of responses here, because I have a job and I have a car. And if you ladies on here have to ask that kind of question, there's no way I should be single. But with that, I'll let you guys do your review for 2023. I wish everybody happy holidays. Um, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, the whole 9 yards, man. Mo, if you want to do a New Year's show, let
Oh,
me
we will
know.
be.
Yeah, let me know. That'll be in a couple weeks. We'll do a New Year's show, and I'll probably have more time then. I'll make sure whatever dates you give me, I have it absolutely cleared. So we can do a show. Maybe Big Daddy will be able to make that one, and maybe I'll drag Roma on. So let's see what we can do.
So remember 3 things: job, car, 14-inch penis.
I got a job and a car.
Just edit the bio. Edit the bio.
And one last thing. Cut it off at 69.
Cut it off at 69. I got a job and I got a car, Maurice. That a car and a job. Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays. There we go. From the man himself, who always has tremendous insight on the human condition. And speaking of insight and whatnot, we are going to look at to wind up today. We have a couple things planned. One, which Maurice, if you want to go ahead now, you can look at the highlights for. Let's stop everything for a second and talk about the channel, Cheap Heat Productions. Not only the wrestling podcast, but everything else that you've been doing. And I am very, very happy and proud to be a small part of this channel because it's growing, and it's due to the hard work that you have undertaken from day one. But if you want to do that year in review and look at some of the highlights, etc., please.
Well, yeah, what I'll do is I'll break it down by month, and then we'll just kind of have a look at the end and see where we're at 365 days ago to right where we are now. So like you came in, was it June or July? You came in July. So I have that down in my notes as well, don't worry. But in January, see, this is why it would have been funny if Mario was here. My first guest in January was actually just incredible.
Oh.
And he gave me some insight into the plane ride from hell, various different things like that. The same month then I had Dangerous Danny Davis on and Reno Riggins. They were the 3 notable. I'm not going to mention every podcast because there's so many that we do every year. So that was that one. In February, on the Mario Mancini show was a very high viewed one with James Ellsworth. And that was the first time Mario met James, and they're obviously kind of in similar roles in the company in different decades. And that was nice. It was also the same month where I had Riddle's girlfriend, and now they've had a child, haven't they?
Yeah, they announced on social media, I think within the last week, that they welcomed a child.
Yeah, so I had her on, and she was kind of given the inside view onto the way she was treated by people online, mostly in the wrestling business, just by sour fans really attacking her. So that was in the news. In March, then I had Amy Donald, who you remember from the film Megan. She was only 13, so that was kind of a interesting one to get over the line because I had to go through her parents to get permission and all this stuff. And I never thought I'd be interviewing someone that was 13, but at the same time, it was one of the biggest horror movies of the year. So that was good. Same month, I had Gene Snitsky, and he was great. Like he made so much news with he told a story about Mae Young wanted me to suck her toes for longer and various strange things. And he's a really nice guy, actually. So I did try to put you in contact with him to do an interview. It did take me quite a while, and I have to send a shout out to Dan Madigan for organizing that one, the director of See No Evil, ex-WWE writer. So he was influential in that. Then in April, Steve Kern was a big one. Yeah. Skinner was on the show, and halfway through the show, I done the spring and put Mario in, who was Skinner's first opponent, and he didn't have any idea who he was, and it was a really fun interaction. He's a very nice guy as well. In May, actually, was the highest viewed wrestling podcast this year, and it was a man that we're trying to get in contact with again. I think he will do it, Alex Wright. And he told me stories. I had him on. I showed him the old clips of when Paul Roman was on my show talking about him. So that was Alex. Then in June, James Ellsworth was in on the Mario Mancini show again. So we done that. No, I'm after getting that mixed up. No, Ellsworth was earlier. But anyway, within that space of time with Ellsworth, we had Gilbert on the show as well with Mario.
Mhm.
Also did not know each other, which was kind of cool. And then later that month, you came in and you've done some great work as well. And then you go into August, we interviewed Ice Train, interviewed Doug Basham when the OVW thing was hot. Brian Costello, we finally got him on with Mario. In September, then we had that exclusive with John Giamando, ex-WWE photographer, done really well, got in the news. October, we done a crazy show, you remember, with Roma, Mancini, and Jose Luis Rivera came in. That was fun. And then you done 3 parts with Bobby Blaze. We're in the middle of clipping them up at the moment as well. So you'll see some various clips from Bobby's podcast coming up. And Ahmed Johnson, and actual active member of the WWE, Kevin Patrick, as well. I got to interview, luckily. I think my Irish connection really helped with that one. But that's pretty much like the whole year there. But there's loads missing. But there's guys like we talked to, like Blue Marconi, and who else have we talked to? There's so many guys I can't even remember.
Well, I think
Walters. God, I could name them all.
the interesting facet that we've been trying to capture on there is not to say that there isn't value in talking to names, big names, et cetera, et cetera. I've had the pleasure through here and the Hannibal TV to speak to a lot of legends, superstars, et cetera. But I think the aspect of the business that you've hit and we continue to explore are those talents that made a career in the business, but weren't necessarily the national stars, the TV stars, but yet had a significant presence on television. I'm thinking most recently of Tommy Angel, and we've got more of those stories to tell of guys that have been for whatever, and girls too, but guys now that have been overlooked in terms of podcasting and having their experiences out there. Because I'll tell you, as a fan, and I'm aging myself quite significantly, but as a fan that watched that stuff, late 80s, 90s live, especially WCW, I'm finding the interviews that we're having absolutely fascinating, because down to the almost the last detail, I instinctively know what they're talking about. And it's always good to deviate from the norm in some respect. And I've noticed, actually, we were talking about this yesterday or the other day, there's some other podcasters that are picking up on Cheap Heat's lead and featuring some of these people. So it's gratifying to give them that platform, tell their stories, and also get some credit that these people deserve.
Yeah, and the more interviews that these wrestlers and people within the industry do, the better. So if we have an exclusive, we've had many exclusive, you'll find them 3 days later on someone else's podcast, and that's good for them as well. The more people that are telling their stories, the better. What was the other point I was going to make? God, it's gone from my head.
It must be my bloviating that.
What it was the year total in views. So the year total in views was up 278% from the previous year. So that's huge. So up until now, it's 979,531. So almost 1 million within the calendar year. So I'd be hoping to obviously better that in 2024. And then subscribers over the last 365 days are 1 second now. 1,993. That's up 161%. So it's all going in the right direction, but it's a long road, this YouTube thing,
Well, it's a long road, and it's when you're talking about pro wrestling, combat sports, horror movies, whatever, adult stuff. We're talking a niche within a niche market. But I think that when you consistently turn out, look at Brian.
Hey, Brian, did anyone else contact you about 2 days later to come on? let us know.
Not naming any names, but I think the important part about this is that you and you know, I'll break kayfabe, if you will, here for a minute. When I got in touch with you and started discussing becoming a part of the channel, what impressed me about you was, much like myself, you're not in this to, you know, make a gazillion dollars or what have you, or get signed by WWE or AEW or whatever. You're doing this because you see value in capturing the historical record and making sure that people that may have not had a platform before get one. And I think that's laudable, right? That speaks to your values and the fact that this is a very genuine program, as you keep saying, just a conversation.
I said to you the other day, I see that. Yeah. I said to you, I contacted the man that done one promo for WWE the other day, and he remained unnamed. He never got the shot in the end, but I think that there'd be an interesting story behind that, because whilst he never appeared in the ring, he appeared on the vignette, and he was supposed to be against one of the biggest wrestlers of all time. So hopefully we can hear his story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some people I find in the business, some people are done with it and they don't want to talk about it, and that's fine. But I have like a load of guests lined up that have agreed to it, but we just haven't got the time sorted. Some of these, as you know, the fans may not know this, but it takes a long time to organize some of these.
Oh, yeah.
Some of these interviews could be scheduled. It could take a year to get them over the line.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, it's because, you know, a number of things. As you said, some people are just done and, you know, don't want to, for whatever reasons they have, relive that experience. Others are very busy. They've got other careers, etc. Some are technologically not, you know, so inclined, but there's a variety of reasons. But those that you know, in their mind, in their experience, they realize what they did was special and unique and worthy of being told. They will eventually get in touch with us and move forward. Do you want to talk about some of the upcoming interviews we have in the immediate time frame?
Yeah, another thing I actually forgot. We reunited Chris Nelson with Muffy.
Yes, let's not forget that and let that be mistaken. That was a major deal and quite hilarious.
She was such good fun. We might have to get her on again, because she told me that she's got stuff to say that hasn't been said, but it just wasn't the right time to do it. So we'll wait for her when she wants to do it. We're here for her.
Let's definitely do that. Did you want me to hype the immediate ones?
Yeah.
So one that I'm very excited about, that I've been one of those ones that is on the list, that is difficult through my own means or whatnot, but regardless, we have the brother of No Gimmicks Needed, Chris Candido, one of my favorite all-time wrestlers. I mean, I stole his moniker in a tribute. Johnny Candido is coming on this show for an extended interview, and that'll be December the 18th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is going to be particularly poignant. Johnny is just an awesome human being. His stories are quite detailed and encyclopedic, but he will have some comments to make about the sentencing and his experiences with Sonny. So you're going to want to tune into that live, fans. There'll be questions there taken as well. Then on the 19th, we have a unique interview in that former WWF referee Kevin Jeffries has agreed to come on and do a career interview. He was a wrestler for Stampede, but was one of the main referees for WWF during that Golden Hogan era. Has many stories, and quite active in the in the wrestling community still with CAC and other things. And then on the 29th of December, we have a guy coming up that one of those ones that has quite a extensive career in the business. He's done a lot, including wrestled for Championship Wrestling from Florida, WCW syndication. He faced all manner of stars at the time, but seems like a really interesting, genuine individual. His name is Crusher Kampf, and I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, but it's Konpf. He most fans that are familiar with WCW syndication in the early 90s will come across his stuff. Guy who's never done a major podcast interview. Looking forward to that. And we're working, as Maurice said, on lining up continual content for the new year.
Yeah, there'll be the niche guys, which we hope to just keep finding. Then there's a few of the more mainstream, we'll call them, guys, but they're actually much more difficult to deal with than the other guys. But I've got a few people, I'm not going to mention any names, but there's a list of 5, 6, 7, 8 that are there that we just need to sort out a date with. And then obviously I'm going to be doing the movie stuff and the band stuff in between that as well, and some TV stuff. And that's pretty much the plan going forward. Just kind of we'll be doing minimum 2 shows a week, whether it be live, pre-recorded. So it'll work out another 104 shows planned for next year, even though we don't know what they are yet. That's what'll happen. And just keep going on. And I'd just like to thank everyone for watching.
Before we end for this particular episode, in addition to echoing Mr. Mancini's comments and wishing everyone out there a very Merry Christmas, happy holiday season, and thank you for supporting this channel, Maurice, we're going to have some content, I think, biggest wrestling stories of the year we can do in the New Year's program. But before we go, I'm about to do another show with my partner who was on last week, the Cheap Heat Productions Wrestling Podcast. That would be the Kingpin, Angel Medina. And we're taking a look at, in no particular order, but wrestling and Christmas. They, at one time during the territory days, were very synonymous. You know, you had those big shows. Crockett had shows on Christmas Day, Christmas night. World Class had big show. I mean, so many to. And then in the more modern era, we've had a number of interesting angles and situations on TV. But not to put you on the spot, and we won't go into great detail, but do you have a favorite Christmas-related wrestling angle, memory, moment, show, whatever?
Yeah, basically because of my age and the era I grew up watching, it's obviously Stone Cold, Stunner, and Santa Claus on Raw.
You know what? That is still the number one. I did a lot of research for this one, and that is consistently. I mean, there's memories across the board, but everybody points to that particular.
It's because it was kind of taboo. The WWE would not do that these days.
No, not at all. What I like to one of the more interesting deep cuts or not that interests me from the whole Christmas thing, in addition to the great cards that I could run down but won't, is the whole angle with the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase when they brought out Santa Claus or Balls Mahoney, and $1 Million Man paid him to turn on poor Savio Vega, and he had a limited run there, but that was so memorable. I guess no disrespect to the late great Balls Mahoney, but from the wrestle crap point of view, that was definitely a memorable television at a rather low period in that company's history.
Interesting topics for sure. And Kingpin, he was great as well.
Yes, yeah, he definitely has. He's another one that we're going to have back on. We're also going to have a number of panel type discussions with some of the regulars that you mentioned, including Mario, Kingpin, and also Bobby Blaze, my friend, who did that excellent 3-part extensive series on his career. So bottom line, fans, is there's a lot to come from Cheap Heat in 2024. Do you have any final thoughts for this festive holiday episode, Christmas episode? What were
Two
we
final
calling it?
thoughts. Two final thoughts. First one is, I think we should get Bobby Blaze and Randy Hogan on the same show. I think they would be two very compatible guys together. And then the second one is, I know that Mario says he doesn't really like doing many podcasts, but there's one other podcast that I'd like to see Mario on. I would like to see Mario on Cafe de Rene. I think we should make that happen. I think that'd be really good.
Absolutely. I don't, those fans that follow the Hannibal TV and Great North Wrestling know that I'm not really a big fan of that vicious rule breaker, Rene Dupree, who concussed me with a vicious shot that broke my briefcase. The bill's on the way to you, Rene, for that. But you know what? In the interest of broadcast journalism, I would be prepared to put that aside and have hopefully grease the machine to have Mario on that podcast, because he certainly would fit in there very well given their extensive storytelling that they do there.
Yeah. That's pretty much it, so isn't it?
I guess so. We will, fans, we will continue to update you as to shows moving forward. And just from a personal perspective, I want to thank you, Maurice, for having me be a part of this channel. I think that you're doing fabulous work here, and I'm just glad to be able to contribute in a small way.
Yeah, and I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad. It took me a long time to try and find someone you can trust, because you know, in this, not everybody's got the work ethic. It's like I was talking to people about bands the other day. You know, bands members come and go all the time, and it's very hard unless you all have the same focus. It's kind of the same in this. So that's why I do a lot of my work myself. You know, I do the DJ and I do this, I do that. But I'm glad to have you on board, because like, you've done some work when I've been on holidays, when I've got the kids, different bits and pieces, because you know I can only do selective days per month, and then you can normally fill in then after, and really appreciate it, man.
Well, more to come in 2024, folks. And until next week, we are done here for another edition of the Cheap Heat Productions Wrestling Podcast. Take care, everyone.